2008. Small private rocket company is down to its last attempt. 3 launches have already failed, each one ending in flames.
A third SpaceX test launch has failed this morning due to an apparent issue.
The 4th rocket is sitting on a launch pad in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. If this one fails, the company is finished. Inside that company is a founder who has already poured nearly all of his personal fortune into keeping it alive. At the same time, his other company is also on the verge of collapse. Everything he built would disappear within weeks. That founder is Elon Musk, and that company is SpaceX. What happened next didn't just save a business, it changed the entire space industry. Before rockets, Elon Musk had already won by most standards. He co-founded PayPal, which was later sold for $1.5 billion. That deal made him incredibly wealthy at a young age. Most people in that position step back. They invest. They enjoy life. Musk did something else. He became obsessed with space. Not casually interested, obsessed. He believed that for humanity to survive long-term, it had to become a multi-planet species. Mars wasn't just a dream. To him, it was a backup plan for civilization. But there was a problem. Space travel was absurdly expensive. Governments dominated the industry. Progress was slow. Costs were massive. Launching a rocket could cost hundreds of millions of dollars, and the rocket would be destroyed after a single use. To Musk, that made no sense. Imagine buying a plane, using it once, and throwing it away. So he asked a question that most experts dismissed. What if rockets could land and be reused? That single idea would become the foundation of SpaceX. In 2002, Musk founded SpaceX. There was one major issue. He wasn't from the aerospace world. No background in rocket science, no experience building launch systems, and the industry he was entering, one of the most complex and unforgiving in existence. Mistakes don't result in bugs or glitches. They result in explosions. Still, Musk pushed forward. Instead of outsourcing everything like traditional aerospace companies, SpaceX built most of its components in-house: engines, software, structures. This approach was risky. Their first rocket would be called Falcon 1, small, relatively simple, designed as a starting point. But even that simple rocket would prove to be incredibly difficult. 2006, the first Falcon 1 launch, it failed. The rocket caught fire shortly after liftoff. 2007, second attempt, failed again. A different issue, but the same result, another explosion. 2008, third launch. This one got closer. For a moment, it looked like success, then failure. 3 launches, 3 losses, each one costing millions. Inside SpaceX, the pressure was building. Outside, critics were already writing the company off. A private rocket company competing with government agencies? It sounded unrealistic from the start. Now, it looked impossible. And behind the scenes, things were even worse. By 2008, SpaceX was almost out of cash. Elon Musk had invested nearly everything he made from PayPal into his new ventures. But SpaceX wasn't the only problem. Tesla was also struggling. Production issues, financial pressure, uncertainty. Both companies were burning money fast. Musk later described this period as one of the most difficult times in his life. He had to make choices most founders never face. Do you save one company, or try to save both? Do you walk away, or risk everything? He chose to keep going, which meant one thing. SpaceX had exactly one more launch left. September 28, 2008. Kwajalein Atoll, a remote launch site surrounded by ocean. Falcon 1 stood ready. This was it. No margin for error. No extra funding waiting. If this launch failed, SpaceX would shut down. The rocket lifted off. Seconds passed, then minutes. Stage separation, successful. Engines, stable. For the first time in company history, everything worked. Falcon 1 reached orbit. It was a breakthrough moment, not just for SpaceX, but for private spaceflight as a whole. After years of failure, they had finally done it, but the timing made it even more important, because just weeks later, everything changed. In late 2008, SpaceX secured a $1.6 billion contract with NASA. The mission? Deliver cargo to the International Space Station. This wasn't just funding, it was trust. NASA was betting on a company that had almost gone bankrupt. That contract gave SpaceX stability. From that point forward, SpaceX wasn't just trying to survive, It was now part of the future of space exploration.
With funding secured, SpaceX turned back to its original idea, reusable rockets.
The concept sounds simple. Launch a rocket into space, then land it back on Earth. In reality, it's one of the hardest engineering challenges ever attempted. A rocket returning from space is moving at extreme speeds. It has to slow down, reorient, and land vertically with precision. Even small errors lead to failure. And once again, failure showed up early. Landing attempts ended in crashes. Explosions were caught on camera. Critics called it impractical, but SpaceX kept testing, refining, trying again. Until December 2015, a Falcon 9 rocket launched, completed its mission, and then returned. It landed upright, controlled, stable, reusable. For the first time in history, an orbital-class rocket had done that. It wasn't just a technical win, it changed the economics of space.
After that breakthrough, SpaceX moved fast. Launch costs dropped. More companies could afford access to space. Satellite deployments increased. NASA began working with SpaceX on human spaceflight missions. Astronauts were launched to the International Space Station using SpaceX rockets. A private company had reached a milestone once reserved for governments. And the ambition didn't stop there. SpaceX began developing Starship, a fully reusable spacecraft designed for deep space missions, including Mars. The same idea that once sounded unrealistic is now being built. SpaceX's story isn't just about rockets. It's about persistence under pressure. At multiple points, the company was one failure away from disappearing. 3 failed launches, financial collapse, industry skepticism, and still, it continued. Not because success was guaranteed, but because the goal was bigger than the risk. Today, with over 600 successful landings behind them, SpaceX stands as proof that even in the most difficult industries, new players can change the rules. And it all came down to one moment, one launch, that could have gone the other way. From near bankruptcy to reshaping space travel, SpaceX didn't just survive against the odds. It forced an entire industry to rethink what was possible. And this is only the beginning.